want to see is 6 months after I stop in November. I want to see the students that come forward and say, I'm still making money. Here's my proof. Here's my results today. Here's my results for the month. Here's my results for the last 6 months. And when I'll be back here another year, and I'll show you what I took out at the end of the year. That's the results and receipts I'm working for. I want you to have that. I don't give a fuck about your funded certificate account, and you shouldn't either. Some of you think that's the end, like that's the touchdown. That's you've made it now. Woo! Look at me. Look at me. I got this name that was given to me at birth. I didn't earn. And it's on a piece of paper that ain't even paper. It's just a digital image. And I get it. It feels awesome. Yes, that's progress. But that's not what I'm fucking teaching you to do. I'm teaching you how to make real fucking money consistently, week after week, month after month, year after year. Change your whole fucking family tree. I'm not here for some fucking certificates to be mounted on my motherfucking wall and brag about that. I want your story. I want to hear the legacy that you're leaving. Fuck those fucking certificates. That's nothing. That's literally nothing. That's a Hallmark card. That's a love you letter that you wrote to yourself. Here it is. Here's proof that you did something right. Awesome. But don't just look at that and think, that's it, I've arrived. That's nothing. You just started now. Now you got to outperform yourself. Dig in. This is legacy. It's not social media equity curve. It's not affirmation. Let me get the other people around me to say I'm doing good. When you're making fucking money, you don't need anybody else to tell you you're doing good. You don't need to do that shit. You don't need to go to social media and show some bullshit results because you're living on it. You don't care who believes what you make. Nobody gives a fuck what other people think when you got money. I don't give a fuck. My entire career has been on the basis of what? A fucking demo account. A demo account. Seriously. And it works because you have tested it yourself. It matters not if I've done it with a live account. You've seen it in a demo account. I showed you with one contract, I can make 100% in 5 weeks. Last year, right over there on Twitter. Not on Twitter, on YouTube. What takes other traders a whole year or more to get that same return. You are learning how to master money, not be a slave to it. And in the beginning, any small victory is what you feel like you need to keep pressing forward. And some of you, unfortunately, want to do that prematurely with trades. I just need that little affirmation, that little nudge. This is going to work for me. I know he said don't push a button. I know he said don't trade, but I have to. Michael, if you could just feel what it feels like to be inside this skin of mine. I got to wake up every day and do this dumb shit and make no money. I'm in a country that doesn't make any fucking money. And I'm in an impoverished nation. I didn't have a father. I didn't have a mother. You know, I can't get a job with my college degree. I dropped out of college. I couldn't afford it. My mom and dad don't do this for me. Look, listen. All that stuff may be true. I didn't have my father. He was a contract murderer. He's serving life sentences in prison. My mother didn't want me. I grew up in a neighborhood that was considered white trash. The white ghetto. I had everything stacked against me. Everything. I had no pedigree that had money before me. I had no advantages where people could help me get into certain things, fall into certain, perfect scenarios for jobs. I didn't have any of those advantages. I didn't have this, where somebody's whipping my ass into shape when I'm doing stupid shit. Get me back on the rails. Keep me focused. Let me tell you something. My feelings would not have been fucking hurt because this is exactly how my grandfather talked to me. And I miss it. I wish I could hear that Navy man whip my ass and get your head in the fucking game. Focus on this. What are you looking at that shit for? This is what you're supposed to be focusing on right now. Yes, sir. I didn't have that when he passed away. He didn't see me do this. You have someone in me that proves that we can do this consistently. I'm teaching you how to do it. I'm giving you a mindset, a way of thinking about it, how to conquer your demons, wrestle with them, pin them, beat their fucking ass. But you have to show up and do everything I tell you to do. And everything I tell you not to do, you need to keep it away. Filter it. Cope. Whatever you got to do. But you cannot bring your opinion about what it is and how it is that you should be trained when you don't even know what you're going to be doing as a trader. Do you even know? You don't. You have an inkling. Oh, I'd like to be able to trade this model 2022. Okay. Can you really break down that model? Do you know it like the back of your hand? Or that you see it after the fact in the chart? Because if you know it, you can see it when it unfolds in real time. But if you're only able to see it after the fact, you don't know it. You're still learning. And it's easy to talk yourself into you know more than what you really do. Because when I was a young man, I was talking all that shit to my friends. Oh, yeah. I know how to do this and I know how to do that. When I was still struggling. And they didn't know enough to say, you're full of shit. They just saw me making money. But they didn't know I was wrestling with 5 other fucking trades that just barely blew my fucking account out. And the shit that most of you are doing right now is very similar to that. You're focusing on just making it to a positive outcome, but showing no public display or voicing what it was like for you to get through the other shit to that. And that's how I teach. I teach all sides of it. You're going to get the good, you're going to get the bad, the sweet and the sour. And sometimes you're going to get a woodshed moment. You want that. Trust me. For some of you that are foreign, you get very easily offended with people like me or Americans because we sound arrogant. When you know something and you're confident, it sounds like arrogance. It's not. I'm not arrogant. I know where I got all this from. But I also know that humans have tendencies to overcomplicate things and make excuses for why they fucked it up themselves. They prolong the experience more than it needs to be. So when I tell you don't push a button, don't even try to push a button. The benefit is you're going to get so bored with seeing what these things are doing, all these setups, and you're not going to have any impulsive rush, this impatience to do something with a monetary reward or fear that it's going to lose. See, I say this a lot, but you plug your ears. You don't want to hear about it because you know damn well tomorrow, later today, Friday, you're going to be listening to something, whether I say it or someone else is going to say it, and it's going to inspire you to do what? Gamble. And you just need a scratch off win experience. You want to go there and buy a scratch it off, and guess what? You made $50. You made $100. But what's it worth if you were sweating bullets the entire time? You didn't learn anything. You're going to try to ignore all the uncomfortable feelings that you had while you took that trade if you did it. And you're just going to try to sugarcoat it with, hey, I made money. Let me go over on social media so I can ignore all of the fucking bullshit I had to endure for this little tiny peanut of a win, which I won't be able to repeat anyway because I don't know what I'm doing. That's the reality of it, folks. And you know damn well what I just said was the absolute truth. But you never would admit it on social media. But if we were talking at the pub, at the bar, at the restaurant, and you want to have a meal and talk to Marcus with me, that's what we would be talking about. You would confide in me in that setting, but not in front of other people where you can be judged and laughed at. You're all that are pushing the button to get trades. You're trying to lie to yourself the wrong way. You want to be able to tell yourself you can do this when you're not ready. And you'll lie to yourself and say that you are ready. And you'll do stupid shit like go and try to get a funded account, put live account funds at risk when you don't even have a track record to prove that there's a reason for you to be doing that. Are you consistent? Because the only thing consistent most of you are probably feeling right now is that you're uncertain about what it is you're going to do. That's the measure of uncertainty you have, right? I mean, that's the consistency rather, is the uncertainty you have. And that's normal. But some of you are uncomfortable in that state so much that you're willing to do anything to distract yourself from feeling that. Much like that young man with that piece of jade in his hand. He wanted to throw that rock, I'm sure, at that jade master's forehead. Shut the fuck up. I need to do something. I got shit to do, man. There's cars. There's women out there I want to entertain. And I'm not trying to be brash, but young man, you know exactly what the hell you're trying to do this for. Okay. Yeah, you want to flex with your friends and look good and everybody like, yeah, this guy's got it all put together. But you want to go out there and floss in front of these young women and be a dog. That's exactly why you're trying to do this. And you're going to fail. So let me just remind you, you're not going to be doing very much of that because you're doing all the wrong things in the beginning. And you're probably going to spare a lot of fathers, daughters, heartaches because of it, because you're going to fail. But for the folks that are really trying to make a way for themselves and find the approach to doing this consistently and finding profitability, you're going to sacrifice. You're going to put aside that feeling of, I got to get through this quicker because I'm uncomfortable. I don't feel like I'm being productive. I got to get through this part real quick. And you won't take notes. You won't study. You won't desensitize yourself by going through these very moments where it's uncomfortable, not knowing what it is that you're supposed to be getting from it until you get it. And then when you get it, that experience, you think to yourself, wow, I didn't expect to learn what I just learned. Now that I know, wow, that's a totally different perspective I hold over myself as a speculator and what I'm learning. And I know enough, and good educators know enough, that they have to put the students in the laboratory experiment repeatedly before they can observe the measure of change, learning, and understanding. Every day I'm giving you that green rock. Some of you want to take that green rock and be an alchemist and turn into real money right now. And you're not ready. And you're going to get frustrated because you couldn't do it faster. And lose sight of what I'm reminding all of you is slow down. You can do this. But you cannot do it consistently by rushing into pushing the button. Because you don't have the experience to know and trust that your progress can be measured without you doing any button pushing right now. For those that have a long-term relationship right now, and I promise I'm going to end it here. If you have a long-term relationship, spouse, you're married, boyfriend, girlfriend, you're just really committed to this person, you've been with them for a long time. When you met them, did you try to do all the stupid shit that you know that you're probably comfortable doing in front of them now? Would you be willing, or would you have been willing to do all those things on your first date? No. No way. Not if it was somebody that you wanted to have a relationship with, that you were attracted to, you felt an affinity for. You want to secure that one. This one's the one you want to take home and show mom. This is the one you want to build a relationship with. You wouldn't do those things that you know are uncivilized, rude, unpleasant. You wouldn't show that side of you that you know is in you when you lose all control, rage, or upset, and you show your emotions and you act out. You wouldn't do that. Why? Because you know enough that that's going to do what? It's going to mar any chance of that relationship blossoming. You don't want to put any kind of thorns in that rose garden. So you do what? You prune. You're on your best behavior. You hold the door for her. You speak pleasantly. You allow the conversation to be mostly about her. You're gentlemanly. When you come here and you're trying to learn how to do this and you're pushing all the buttons, you're doing the very thing that you wouldn't do if you were trying to secure a long-term relationship with the significant other that you're with now. You're trying to do that here.